Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are doing good today. Welcome to Week of Work. Some of you might have sat in on some other sessions, but this session we are actually going to be talking all about machining and manufacturing. So I have a few guests with me today, from a couple different industries. So we have Titan Machining, and from there representing, we have Justin Berry, who's the general manager. We also have Lori Gates, who's from ESCO Manufacturing, and she is their human resources and procurement manager. And then last but not least, we have Tim Lisi, who's with Applied Engineering and Freeman Company, and he is actually their maintenance supervisor. So just to get started, I have a couple of housekeeping things for you guys. I want to encourage you guys all that this is an interactive webinar, and we'd love you guys to answer or ask questions in the chat box. So if you guys have questions that we are not answering or not getting to, please go ahead and put those in the chat box. I will be monitoring that throughout this session, and we have a couple other people who are helping me if I miss anything. To get started, I wanted to introduce myself really quickly. I am Hannah Sage, and I'm with the Governor's Office of Economic Development, and I am a part of our partner relations team. So I will be working to kind of help field those questions and just strike up some conversation. And I'm really looking forward to kind of working with everybody. So without further ado, I'd love if I can have my panelists join me. And I'll kind of go around the horn a little bit and just give you guys an opportunity to maybe explain what the company does that you work for, your title, and then where you guys are located and kind of what that means. So Justin, it looks like you are number one.
All right, I'll start us off. So yeah, Justin Berry with Titan Machinery. I work at two locations, Graceville, Minnesota, and Watertown, South Dakota locations as their general manager. We have, I believe, close to 80 locations across the Midwest, focusing on the sales, service, and parts for Case IH and New Holland agricultural equipment. So not only do we sell the agricultural equipment, also the servicing of that in-house or out in the country, along with the parts needed for the customer to maintain his own machinery while he has it. So been with the company for about, I think, 14 years now. So.
Wow, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. We will come back and get to some more questions. Lori, can I have you speak a little bit about what you do in the company that you're with and kind of where you guys are located?
Yeah, and I apologize. I'm having some trouble with my video, so hopefully you can hear me okay.
We certainly can hear you. So.
Oh, great. I am with ESCO Manufacturing, and we are an outdoor electric sign manufacturer, and we have facilities in Watertown, South Dakota, and Webster, South Dakota. And what we make is the large outdoor signs that you would see in front of a building or on the building, or their large freestanding sign. And I've been with the company 28 years, and I was hired originally as their purchasing manager, and I'm still the purchasing manager. And then over time, I've taken on additional responsibilities. I'm also the safety director, and I do human resources as well on top of that. So
you got quite the shoes to fill.
Yes, I'm keeping very busy, but I like having the variety.
That's awesome. And last but not least, Tim, if you would tell us a little bit about Applied Engineering and the Freeman Company and kind of where you guys are at and what your role is there. Looks like we might be working on getting you off mute here.
How's that?
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right. Okay, we're in Yankton, South Dakota. We are a fairly large machining company for the aerospace industry. We are owned by the Lohr Group, which is a larger corporation that owns a number of different companies. Mostly we machine aluminum for planes, and Freeman does some stainless steel parts, a lot of horizontal mills. I am the maintenance supervisor. I have been here a little over 12 years now. So that's kind of our story there. So.
Well, thanks for sharing. I'm just going to jump right in with kind of our first question. And this is a question that I would love to hear from all three of you guys. What made you guys decide to go into this, machining and manufacturing career field? You guys are all kind of in different roles. So what made you choose that industry to play in those roles? Do you want to start, Tim?
Yeah, I actually started right out of high school, went to electromechanical technology degree down by Lincoln, Nebraska at a school, worked for 3M for a while, mostly because I always enjoyed doing electrical work and mechanical work both, so we ended up kind of in a joint field there. Maintenance is a field that is very open and you can get a job about anywhere, is part of the reason I kind of went into that. And then it has turned into be a very rewarding career, I guess I'll say. I've been doing it for 28, 9 years, something like that. So it's different challenge every day. You never really run into the same thing over and over. It's enjoyable and challenging all at once.
That's awesome. Justin, Lori, I'll let you guys pick who wants to go next.
I can go next.
Perfect.
I am probably an example of somebody that basically worked my way up in the field. I started out as a production assembler for a defense contractor in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Learned a lot about the production process. And then they had a position available in the office in purchasing that I posted for. And I was accepted in that position, kind of worked up the ranks there. And then when I joined ESCO Manufacturing within the company, I was able to promote and work my way up just through hard work and the ability to try something new.
That's awesome. Being able to learn and take on new tasks is definitely something that's important, and no matter what job field you guys are looking at. Justin, what about you?
Actually, so that's what I went to school for, was for marketing management and sales. And that was kind of my go-to, is that I wanted to be able to sell product. And that's where I started with the selling of machinery. And then just that natural progression through the company, which I was happy to see that ability was there. What made me stay in the career, I would say, is that I get to deal with some of the most amazing people. I think very highly of the farmers in our area. And I knew it was going to be a long-term career just with the longevity of agriculture in the Midwest. So I felt it was somewhere I wanted to focus my efforts and just continue on growing with the company.
Sure. Did any of you guys have to obtain any specific type of education, whether that be a college degree? Is there a certificate that you guys had to get in order to be in the jobs that you're in right now? Justin, it sounds like you went to school and got a degree for sales, but is that something that you would have to do what you're doing?
For the later management role, yes, it would have required a management or supervisory training, college degree of some sort, correct?
Okay. What about you, Lori? It says you kind of worked your way up in multiple different organizations that you were a part of. And, did you obtain any specific degree for your position that you're in today? Or have you taken any certifications?
Yeah, I did continue on and got my master's degree in business. But for the human resources side of what I do, I did pursue a certificate from SHRM, Society for Human Resource Management. So I do have a PHR certification. And a lot of employers do ask for that certification if they're looking to hire for human resources.
Sure. Tim, what about you? Being a maintenance supervisor, did you get any type of, besides on the job training, did you get any type of certificate or training or education specifically to maintenance?
Yeah, the electromechanical degree that I got right out of high school is how I got into it. And a lot of the jobs that I have been in, which I worked at 3M prior and they required it. This job that I'm currently at didn't require that to begin with, but as I progressed through being from maintenance to a lead to now supervisor, I have gone back and taken online classes and classes through RTech here in Yankton through Black Hills State. to get to where I'm at now. So there's been some management engineering type classes that were involved with that. But I do all the hiring for the maintenance right now, and we don't require a degree. We prefer it, but it's not necessarily required, I'll say.
Sure. I'm assuming then you offer some type of on-the-job training for those who maybe don't have that experience?
Yes, all of our guys, when they come in, they'll train for as long as it takes to get them up to speed on these machines, because a lot of our machines are pretty high tech and takes a little bit to learn them. Take time more than anything.
Absolutely. Do you feel, and I'm going to open this up to anybody, I guess, do you feel like there's any specific characteristics in, personalities or, attitudes in the careers that you guys are in that have allowed you guys to be successful? I think I sense a general theme, but I'm curious if you guys have any adders.
Yeah, definitely. I believe having a good work ethic, willingness to try new things, and willingness to continue to learn is really important, no matter what position you go into, but especially if you're in a managerial role. You need to have that good work ethic and ability to try new things and to learn as you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with her 100%. In my role as a salesman, I feel what made me successful was, and what I look for when I'm hiring salesmen from my side is that hunger. I guess I would say almost a hungry fighter that is motivated to make a good living for themselves and self-motivated, and the one that likes to win. So he likes going up against the competition, he or she, excuse me. I would love to have more female sales associates. It would be wonderful in this business. But those ESCs or sales people that we have, they have to have those qualities. They have to be a hungry fighter that's willing to go out there. They're not scared to maybe be rejected a few times, but they know what they're selling is a quality product, and being willing to counsel that customer through that. So I think those are some of the qualities we look for as a coachable employee that also has a hunger within themselves.
Awesome. Tim, what about you? Do you have anything kind of to add? Your role is slightly different because it's not on the managerial side of things, but you're more you're a maintenance supervisor, but what about the qualities of people do you look for when you guys are hiring?
When we're hiring, I look for your self-motivated, driven people that really want to accomplish things, challenge themselves, are willing to dig in and do about whatever it takes to get things done, aren't afraid to try new ideas or things. Detail-orientated people are really better off in this field, just because you have to pay attention to every detail that's on a machine to determine problems and troubleshooting skills, stuff like that. But I agree with the other two. So just somebody with a good, strong work ethic that is driven to make themselves better, and the sky's the limit for that type of person. So.
Absolutely, I would agree with that. Tim, I have a quick question for you. So when you're talking maintenance, supervising, and working with the machines, do you guys have more automated type machines? So if you were to hire somebody working in your shoes, would they be using their hands as often, or would they be kind of running the computer system that would be managing the process?
There's a lot of different, you do kind of all levels of it. I mean, earlier today I was wiring up a robot into a rail system that is going to load parts automatically onto a pallet. There's things like that. You do PLC work, control work, wiring. It's the full gamut. That's why you never get bored. You do all kinds of mechanical, electrical. It's always a challenge.
That's awesome. Lori, Justin, do either of you guys have anything else to kind of add on that? Lori, probably more so you than Justin.
Yeah, one thing I really enjoy taking applicants out to our production floor, because we're a custom sign shop, and literally anytime you walk through the floor, it looks different. People are doing different things, and I think it is very challenging for our fabricators, our welders, our painters, as they're doing different things Our signs can be as small as like a 2-foot by 4-foot, or it could be a 40-foot long sign. Very, very unique, very challenging, and every day is a little bit different.
Absolutely, I can see that. What about some of the major responsibilities? We've kind of talked a little bit about, so we're in the machining and manufacturing industry. We kind of have some sales, we have HR, we have purchasing, we have maintenance management. Can you guys elaborate a little bit more on what some of your major responsibilities are in your specific role? Justin, you want to start?
Sure. So my roles is direct management and basically the actual profitability of the stores. So it falls on my shoulders to make sure that each department is running properly. So a lot of day-to-day maintenance of making sure everybody's completing their daily tasks. Also, a lot of interaction with growers. Most of them are positive, but if there is any issues that come up, I'd like to handle those firsthand myself and spearhead those off to get those taken care of. So it changes. Most often, I would say 80% of my day is facilitating my employees to get the most productivity out of them and keeping the business rolling. Then the other portion is the what ifs that come up that have to be attended to urgently. So it changes, and being able to adapt to those changes as they come quickly. No day is exactly the same, but being able to adapt to those helps a lot. So.
I'm sensing a theme here. No day is the same in manufacturing, as much as one might think.
Right.
Tim, what about you? What are your kind of major roles and responsibilities in your role as a maintenance supervisor?
As a supervisor, I delegate all the work out to the guys, make sure the job is getting done correctly, help them out with anything that they run into with issues, because I did their job for a long period of time. So stuff like that, deal with contractors coming in, line up contractors coming in, facilities type work. There's a whole realm of things, along with just the day-to-day, making sure all the machines are running, reporting to management with issues or concerns or whatever the case is. And then there's the reviews and all of that stuff that comes along with the whole personnel portion of it that I have to take care of also.
Sure. Lori, we'll let you bring it home here.
All right. Well, my day is quite diverse because I wear a few different hats. I'm the purchasing manager, so I'm involved in purchasing aluminum, extrusion steel, LEDs, and various components for the signs. And one thing that has been a challenge with the pandemic is a lot of materials are either short supply or really expensive or have really long lead times. We have an extrusion, for example, that I've been buying with typically about a 6-week lead time is now at 6 months lead time.
Lori, I'm going to interrupt you. Can you explain what an extrusion is, just in case somebody doesn't understand?
Yeah, it's like a fabricated metal piece that we use to make the frames of our signs. So it's a part of the sign, and our lumber is getting hard to find that we use to create the signs. So it's been very challenging, but it's good that we're busy. So I try to think of that as in a positive way, that we are busy and we need materials. I'm also the human resources manager, so I'm involved with the hiring process. So I get to meet applicants and talk to them. And then also I am involved with the benefits, which is all the insurance, and I help with a lot of the training. I'm also the safety director, so there's some training involved in that as well. So a lot of different things going on in my day.
Lori, you touched on it a little bit about kind of how the economy has affected your position and in the purchasing industry. You know, Tim, Justin, I'm curious to see how, COVID has kind of impacted your guys' world, or just the economy in general. You know, do you guys see trends when the economy is going well or not so well in your industry?
Yeah, ours follows the economy pretty bad. The airline industry can be real volatile, which causes a lot of issues with us. But in production, I should say. for the maintenance side of things, we stay busy all the time because there's always machines to fix. So that's the good side of that. COVID has hurt some, it's slowed down the air travel and all that, which has slowed a lot of our customers down. And it's the trickle down effect that I'm sure about everybody is seeing right now with all the supply chain being kind of broken up and struggling. But we're starting to pick back up again. Things are getting better. So that's on the good side of things.
That's good. Justin, what about your side?
Yeah, I would agree. Our lead times are much longer than what we had before. Our materials, steel surcharges are going up, or steel prices have went up anywhere from 5 to 10%, depending on the manufacturer, which might not seem a lot, but when you have a $500,000 tractor, you just added 25,000 onto the price just for steel surcharge. So, and the lead times now are looking at going out an additional 6 months. So the tractors we're ordering right now are produced and going to be arriving in spring of 2022, which makes it difficult, but you just adapt to it and you go into more of a pre-sell business where no longer will you see as much inventory. And you probably notice this on car lots and such, they don't have as much inventory on their lots. Now we're pre-selling it for them for use specifically how they want it for the following years. So it's definitely affected us. Even general components for our parts department, we're seeing those lead times extended quite lengthy. So it's definitely a challenge, but the nice part is corn and beans are up, and we have some of the best commodity prices we've had in years. So everybody's pretty optimistic they're going to have a good year. If we get the crop in and a good harvest, we should have a rebounding year.
That's always good to hear.
Yes.
We did get a question from somebody in our viewing audience, and they asked to each of you guys, what is something that you know now that you wish you guys knew when you first started in this industry? I'll let whoever has their light bulb moment first go. Again, the question was, what is something you know now that you wish you knew when you first started?
I guess I would answer that by saying I wish I would have known how small of a network group the industry really is and how important it is every relationship within. It seems like you might not see that person or have relations with them for a year, but 10 years down the road, they're in the same business. The old adage of don't ever burn any bridges is true, because you'll be dealing with and working side by side with these people in one form or another later on in your lifetime. And I guess I wish I would have been told that at a younger age, that develop those relationships right away and make them strong relationships, because you'll be working with these people. Even if you don't think so, you'll be working with them later on in life. So, yeah.
I would agree to that. One thing that I thought of too is a lot of people believe once they get done with schooling, maybe they got a degree in the field that they were hired into, that they're done and they know what they need to know. And I guess I've learned that, you need to continually learn and be open to getting more knowledge and more information as you go, and not to be afraid to ask the questions if you don't know. So it's okay to not know the answer as long as you can find out a way to get the answer.
That's another good one. Tim, what about you?
And I would agree with what Lori just said. And also with the continuing education, the thought process of, I got my degree, I'm done, I'm gonna go get a job and work. Well, you're gonna be learning for the rest of your life, and to keep in mind where you want to end up in the end, as far as if you want to progress into management or whatever else, be engineering or whatever the case is, just keep that in mind and kind of keep your path going in that direction, and don't give up, because there's always going to be roadblocks and challenges, but you just got to keep going, because you will get there if you want to.
Absolutely. The homework just looks different, right? So we had another question come in. Thanks, Cody, for asking. His question is, do you think the industry will ever get all the way caught up again? I think that was more so in reference to COVID, supply times, price costs, all those things, I'm assuming. And if not, Cody, chime in.
Yeah, with regard to components, I think it's going to take a little while for things to get straightened out. A lot of the lead times, it might take a while. I've heard of different containers being stuck at port coming in from China. I've heard of ships being held up. There's a chain reaction when things get delayed, and I think it isn't going to turn around probably in 2021 yet.
Tim, Justin, do you guys agree with that in your guys'
Yeah, it's
specific
going to take
business
a
as well?
while. I don't believe it. Like you said, it's going to take a while to get everything back, tooling back up to speed, labor force to do the manufacturing. It's going to take a while to get everything back up to running capacity like we had before. Only downfall will be is like I talked on those steel surge prices and those price increases, they don't come back down. So now that's the new norm, that is the pricing that we pay going forward. So then that has to be passed back on to the customers. So I guess, yes, it'll be back to norm as eventually, but it'll be at a higher cost.
Inflation is definitely always there. Tim, do you have any adders to that?
I agree with what Justin said. It's going to be a number of years, and the added cost is going to stick, I think. I do think that the supply chain will fill back up in the future. I mean, it's probably going to be 3 to 5 years, but I think we will get back to a somewhat normal. It'll be a new normal, I guess, but.
Yep. We're all too familiar with that term, new normal. I kind of have a question for you guys based on, supply chain and all of that. A lot of the manufacturing was done overseas. Do you see a change in that coming to the US or kind of changing the way you guys do business in terms of, looking at automation more so, or looking at bringing some more things in-house versus having to wait for those shipments at the port? I worked with a client just the other day, and he had 13 different ships stuck at port, and he had over $10 million worth of product in them and couldn't get it out. So just the inventory issues and all of that type of stuff really affects things. I'm just curious from your guys' perspective, do you see that kind of changing the way you guys do business and the way you operate?
Well, one thing when the pandemic first started, my boss, who is the president of the company at ESCO, said, what can we do to make the pandemic actually be positive? What can we learn from this so that we can come out stronger because of it? And from a purchasing side, I actually got more aggressive and went after new suppliers that I probably didn't work with before. If something was out of stock, I started working with some other suppliers and was able to keep us going, and got a little bit creative with it, and actually was able to save some money. And we ended up having like our second biggest year in company history for 2020. So we kind of tried to turn it into a positive for us. We gained some customers through the pandemic as well. So it's been a good thing.
That's good to hear. Justin, Tim, do you guys see any of that kind of affecting your guys' day-to-day and how you operate and what you might be looking to do in the future?
Our biggest challenge is probably the staffing issue. We have a hard time getting people in and getting skilled labor in. So we are adding more robots and that type of thing and automation to overcome that portion. Metal prices have gone up for us, so that has affected things. But our biggest issue is probably staffing, getting the people with skilled labor to be able to fill the spots we need.
Help us understand what you mean by skilled labor. What type of skills are you looking for?
Well, on our machining end of it, we're looking for machinists that, can program, operate machines, set up the machines, stuff like that. And then they can evolve into other things, other positions within the company. Even loaders they're not at the higher skilled level, but just your beginning entry level positions we're having a tough time finding enough of them. The maintenance side of things, the skill level there is, it's got to be somebody that's kind of detail oriented, that's electrical and mechanically inclined and wants to learn. There's just a vast shortage out there for a lot of skilled labor right now. So it's tough to fill positions. So we're turning to automation to try to help fill them. But with automation, you still need more skilled people to handle that end of it too. So
Different skills, yes. Yep. It's definitely something that we're seeing in the state with businesses as well, is definitely leaning heavily towards that automation side of things when workforce is a challenge. So we're gonna get a little bit more personal. What subjects in school did you enjoy the most, like when you were in high school? And how did that kind of play into what you do now? Are there similarities in some of those classes and what you're doing?
for me, I enjoyed the shop classes, the hands-on stuff, stuff like that. And a lot of that did play into what I do now. Math classes, the sciences, stuff like that was always interesting to me. So, and I still use a lot of that in my job now. So that was kind of the one thing.
Justin, what about you?
I'm just laughing to myself because I remember I really didn't enjoy math much in school. It wasn't until I went to college, and I still really didn't enjoy accounting, but I knew it was a job or a class that I had to take to get to that management level. So yeah, I would say what I did enjoy was sociology. Really enjoyed how people justify and rationalize. I enjoyed that part of it. Science was always very interesting to me. And then the marketing side of how you can present a product and make a person buy it. So kind of that sociology part of it. That I always enjoyed, but I should have maybe paid more attention to accounting. I just didn't have that drive, but it's something I use every day now. So I wish I would have spent a little more time with it when I was in class. So.
Lori, what about you?
I am one of those people that I enjoyed learning, and I enjoyed every class that I took. I was a good student, and I really loved math. And it's interesting how much I need math in my job, and most jobs use some math. So I'm glad I paid attention with math, but especially on the purchasing side, because the way we inventory things by square foot or lineal inch, you really need to be able to convert things and be able to do it quickly. So the math has really helped me out with that job.
Sure, absolutely. Well, guys, we have about 7 minutes left. I have 2 more questions. I just wanted to encourage you guys, if you guys have questions in the audience, please shoot them in the message chat box, and I will see if we can get to those. So my final 2 questions for you, and I'll let you guys kind of answer them simultaneously, would be, how would a student learn about the career field that you're in? Are there opportunities for shadow days, or what does that look like? And then also tagging on to that, what advice would you give to somebody who's aspiring to be in a role that you're in today? Lori, do you want to start?
Sure. I guess start off with some advice I would say is be open to challenges. I pretty much worked up the ladder when I came to ESCO. At that point, I didn't necessarily have my sights on human resources, but I was already in the role, and my boss came and talked to me, and he said, you're pretty good working with people. Would you be interested in helping us find a production manager? And I said, sure, I'll help find that. And then the position grew over time, and I was able to work up the ranks. So I would think just be open to challenges, and don't be afraid to try something new in terms of your position in the company. And I'm sorry, what was the first question?
The first one was more, is there something that you would suggest in terms of a student to be able to learn more about your career, a shadow day or something like that? How would they learn about what your career is like?
Absolutely. We do job shadowing within the company as well. And if somebody's interested, for example, in human resource management, there is a site called SHRM, and it's an association that most HRs are part of. And there's a lot of information out there on how you can become involved in human resources.
That's great. Justin, what about you? Advice, and where can somebody learn more about what you do?
Well, I would say learn more about what I do is on titanmachinery.com's website. There's a careers tab on there that'll have job descriptions and kind of explain the day-to-day roles. Also reaching out directly to the store manager or parts manager, service manager within those departments. They'll gladly take the time and explain a little bit more about it and do a job shadow day if you'd like to come in, see the dealership, and they'll sit you down and have lunch and discuss what they do on a daily basis. Advice I give, I would agree, is keeping an open mind. You got to have I guess, an idea of what you enjoy, but also knowing that you're flexible, that this will go in, possibly lead into another career. When I started off in sales, and I guess they called me random tasks, because any task they needed done, I did. And I washed tractors, I mowed lawn, I did what I have to do. And they saw that I was someone they wanted to invest some more time into. And then they just kept on building on the responsibilities from there. So people are watching, they see your work ethic and your drive, and they'll recognize that and promote you from that. So, yep.
And Tim, final parting thoughts from you in terms of where a student can learn more about what you do or about your career, and then advice that you have.
As far as learning about my career, we don't really have anything specific on our website or anything, but if you look into the electromechanical field on the internet or whatever, job openings for technicians for maintenance in about any company anywhere in the States, anywhere you can find job openings. There is a ton of openings for it. There's a few schools that are have a specific electromechanical program in them. I know Northeast in Norfolk has one, Southeast Community College in Milford, Nebraska has one. I believe Southeast up in Sioux Falls has what they call a mechatronics degree, which is a real similar type of degree. They are all good programs that are going to get your foot in the door into this type of field. It's a pretty open field that you can work about anywhere with. So it's to learn more, just Google it, talk to people, other maintenance departments, anywhere, any job around, if they're a manufacturing facility, has some sort of maintenance field in it. So if you know people in manufacturing, talk to them, they'll tell you about it. As far as advice, pay attention in school, take all your classes that you enjoy, find a job that you enjoy. Money isn't everything when you're looking for a job, because you're going to be doing it for a long period of time. So it's best to find something you enjoy. I basically get to do my hobby every day, so I don't regret coming to work anytime. So that's my bit of advice, I guess, is find something you enjoy, and you'll do it for a long time and you'll excel at it.
Well, Lori, Justin, Tim, thank you guys so much for sharing your expertise. Thank you to all of you guys who are in our audience for joining us today. And I wish you guys all the great day that you can have. So thank you again.
All right, have a good day.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.